Welcome everybody to a very special video. It's been a long time since I did a lot of coding, and the past few days were an extreme amount of coding that I have done in order to get everything back on track. And most of the reasons why I went quiet mostly is personal issues in my life. A lot of things happening, a lot of heavy things happening, and I just couldn't take too much together at the same time. Besides the fact that I got a lot of people trying to get support for something that they didn't purchase, for example. Those things are all in the past now, and I try to get back on track. So when I tried to get back on track, it resulted in a very big, huge problem since update 1.17 came out. They changed the way the world generated, basically making it twice as deep as it used to be, and in 1.18 they did a little bit back on top of that and making the world even larger to 320 up in the sky. Well, the plugin that depends on world generation is StarCraft, for example, and yeah, it completely broke. Yep, more than just broken. It just didn't generate anymore. It looked like one hell of a fight between all kinds of computer bits. It wasn't normal at all. Well, as you might have noticed, I'm standing here in Radiated, so yeah, I fixed those issues with a long road that I did to do that. Besides that, I also updated MCGPS libraries when I found out that they changed the way that their API is being used. So I had to rewrite every part of the code that allowed the MCGUI to function to be more compliant with the new API for MCGUIs. And then lastly, the population system in Minecraft also changed. The populators required now a limited zone, limited region documentation instead of the chunk data. So, as a result, I couldn't generate anything anymore, so I had to completely rewrite all the populators for all the world generators I built in, beside the fact that we got a very huge lag going on when generating the normal MCG worlds. So, I started looking into it, and I came to a few conclusions along the way. I managed to get everything working again. Take a look. This is the new radiated type planet. It's mostly lava, but there are islands like this one popping up above the lava. And you will first notice all those weird shapes floating in the sky. To be honest, those are developer markings. Yes, they are. Normally, the dungeons generate in the ground, very deep in the ground. Sadly, with the current new world generation system that is basically having an issue, we cannot decide where the surface of the area is anymore. And the reason for that one is that sometimes the area is, for example, like this, made of a coastal block. And the dungeon generator doesn't like it. So, as a result, it spawns a dungeon a little bit higher up than you would expect it to. As a result, the developer markings, which were there always, are still there. Those developer markings aren't anything useful. They are just polished diorite shaped in the way that the hallways are generated. So if I go to spectator mode and I go down, then you can see here it's a T-junction, and above here it's marking as a T-junction. So that's how I know which is what. Some other thing to note is that you can see it just like now. The world has a weird gap generation. I'm trying to prevent it from happening, but sometimes it might happen that the lava just starts one layer too high. I'm fixing that prior to release. So that's something you would know. Beside the fact that there's also another thing, and that's that if the world generates the dungeon underneath the ground, it can now only generate 3 by 3 max. Reason: Minecraft world generation has changed. You cannot enter chunks beside the chunk you're generating to. So in this case, This is the chunk that I'm generating, and since that Micron's logic between generating above and underground noising is changed, it can now only go one chunk out. So in this case, it tried to continue on here, but it couldn't because it bounced against a chunk that didn't exist yet. Same thing on the other things. So if dungeon generation is enabled by automatically generating, it will generate 3x3 dungeons, so that you know. I might even make it possible that it never generates those dead ends anymore for dungeons that are automatically generated, but that's something I need to look into later on. However, if you manually select the command to generate, it will generate the full dungeon as you might expect, and even quicker than it ever did before. I optimized the codes a lot. I removed the cuboid scanner that I wrote. That's almost 6,000 lines. Is deleted because it couldn't be used by the selective commands anymore. So I rewrote a script. It's a small script now, but yeah, as a result, you can see that there is it's generating normally like supposed to. However, there are some known things. For example, the spawners here, you can see that through it are zombie and skeleton. I did it command correctly. However, when I'm here, you can see the flames coming off it, but the zombies will never generate. I can go search further, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The only thing that I do note is that the chests aren't being generated at all, and I have no idea why. We are doing everything as it's supposed to. I'm still diving into it, but that's a known bug for the upcoming StarCraft release, that it will not generate normal, basically normal chests in the system. And last but not least, the world generations have been changed slightly. So in this case, radiated changed to be a lava type planet. So yeah, it's a lot of lava around. Oh, that's this is basically what I called a developer problem. As you can see here, the developer icons are above the lava again. There is a solution for this, and that's basically editing the file and turning off the dungeon generator automatically, and so that it doesn't generate these dungeons, or setting it to generate lower by editing the dungeon file. Just so you know, that's a way of fixing it. Anyways, this world is now a lava type world, and it's generating extremely fast. Even if it's generating a dungeon, it doesn't lag, at least not on my system. Then there is an important other announcement to make. And that is, here, my head is in the blue, the MCG plugin security is gone. It's now still there, but completely remade. What is changed, you might wonder? Well, first and foremost, it will never send anything automatically anymore. The difference is, though, that you do need an account now for it to work. So, to be honest, if you ever go to the website central.mcgsoft.eu, then you will log in with your Discord ID and will automatically link through your old friend's account if you have one. And will change basically the way that account was and make it into a new one. And the new one, new account can also be made as soon as you use login and you do not have an account yet. So to be short, the basic system that it does is allow you to see the tickets that you make, as well as see that you are verified for the plugins, but also future-proof. So I can just add new plugins to the system without having to rewrite the entire website. And you can link your central account with the plugin in-game. What does this mean is that you can do /mcg register and then the ID for your friend's account, and then the key that comes along with your account. Never share the key with anyone, just to be sure. That key is automatically generated when you log in for the first time to the central system. And you can find that one by registering your plugin. On the right top there's a button. If you click it, you can see that information. That information is secure, which means that you need to keep it to yourself. And if you are sharing your plugins with anybody else, then as simple as I can say it, they have no use. They can use the plugin, but they cannot get support for it in any case or any way. The reason for this one is that the MCG Central Link system is now also the licensing system, which means you can use the plugins without a license, without any issue or problem. However, you cannot ever basically share your plugin with anybody to give them support. So the license allows you to get support for the plugin in question. If you did not purchase it yourself, then you are not eligible for support. Eligible for support. So in my case, I purchased all my plugins myself. I never use plugins that anybody else provides unless it's added to my own account. Reason for that is that I do not want any problem to arise when I need support. I just want to get to the developer and ask for support instead of stealing a developer's time for something I didn't even pay for. And this is basically how it's enforced to everybody else now. The worlds are not as normal as they used to be. So, for example, this is a radiated planet, and there is a lot of lava here. If I go to organic, need space, I think. The hills and such have been changed as well, and they look a little bit extremer now, but they are awesome. And as you might notice, pretty much no lag here, and it's continuously generating endless amounts of hills and such. But to get back to the licensing system, if you, for example, purchase MCG Space and you use this new update and you link your account, you will get the license for that plugin on your account, which means that you are eligible for support. You can get support. However, if you give your copy of MCGStarcraft to a friend of yours, they can't get support. Reason for this is that it only activates once for this user and this license. If your nickname isn't the same nickname as the first plugin you connect to your server, you are getting a problem. So basically what I'm saying is that if they, for example, purchased Ultimate the MCG Streamer GUI, call something, and you purchased StarCraft, you can give those plugins to each other and use it. However, you cannot get support for each other's plugin. So that's basically how it works. The first plugin that you start up on your account, basically, is the nickname that's going to be linked to you. So make sure that if you use a MCG plugin, you purchase it yourself and start it up. The first plugin you start up, your own plugin. Never install a third-party plugin that you got from somebody else. Not only because you're basically screwing me over, more like that it's insecure. You don't know what other people did with the plugin. There are some people that are trying to basically pull out the verification system from my plugin. Well, you can do it, but it's no use. You can use it without being verified at all. However, I just do not give any support anymore to anybody who has no verification in the system. And I can look it up. The same system works also on Minecraft Market. It's now with a different name, but anyways, system is still in place and it still works like it's ever done before. So to be closing off this topic, I do not recommend using plugins you got from somebody else. Always buy directly from the developer to prevent any issues, leaks, or viruses from getting into your system. As I got a lot of people on my DM and even on my email that reported that their system was doing weird things after using my plugin, and then I asked them when did I purchase it, and they couldn't tell me a date. So I asked their nickname, and they couldn't give me a nickname that's on my list. And as a result, I came to the conclusion that they downloaded it from a black website, and they injected a code into the plugin that was crawling for Bitcoin mining on the background on the server. Basically screwing over the server that got out of memory, very big lag spikes, those things. And that's not my plugin causing it. So I recommend not ever using a plugin that you got from somebody else instead of straight from the source. And the source is in this case always Spigot or Minecraft Marketplace. The links are always findable on my website plugins.mcgsoft.eu. Without further ado, let's conclude with the reporting. If there is now a bug or an error, before this update, it automatically sends the report, if you have enabled it, to MCGSoft for investigation. A lot of reports came in from user errors, basically. And those people already solved it like 20 times in a row. Beside the fact that people wanted to get support, even though when they didn't have a license, so they basically downloaded an illegal copy of the plugin or got it from somebody else and tried to get support for it. This isn't possible anymore. The reporting system is basically based on a command, /mcg reports. If you have crash reports, errors for example, and they are cached by the MCG error cacher, they will end up here. You can see them based on a time and a date stamp. So in this case, you can see all my attempts to fix the plugin a lot of times, the past few days. And you can scroll through all the tickets there are. There are a lot of error logs, yes, I know, I got a lot of them. I still need to work my way through. But basically you can either right click and it will delete the report, or you can left click and choose if you want to send it with the minimal items in it. It will only send the error itself and the server version. You can send it partly with the error itself, a list of plugins that you are using and the server version, or you can send a complete report including the log. The log is very important to find most errors, because most of the time there is a step between when you executed the command and when the error occurred, and I can only see that in the log. However, some people are against sharing the latest log, so then you can pick up the yellow one or the red one in case you wanted to. If you click the green button, then it will send the report to the system, and if the report is sent and the error is already known, you directly get a reply back from the system in your console log stating the solution for the problem. Beside the fact that it will remove the log from your log overview, so it will automatically clean up log files when you send them or verify to remove them. When an error occurs, it will automatically take a copy of your plugin list, server version, and log file at that moment, and put it into the reports folder inside your server. So it will never send it to me. So when you send the latest log and such, it will not send the current one, it will send the one at the moment the error occurred. So that you noticed it. This system allows you to go to MCG Central, which I will show later in this video, and see what your error reports show at that moment. Now we have done that, I will show you one big change that I made to MCG Space, and then we're going to the web browser to take a look at the new Central. In Aquatic, I changed the way the generator works. In this case, as you can see, it will generate larger islands on the surface now. Beside that, or normally there were lily pads here, and they still look like lily pads above, but there are now literal islands. And if I go deeper and go through the ground, as you can see, I'm in the ground now, through the ground, you can see that this hull was before very small and is now a very huge. It's gigantic. In some cases, you can even see the lily pad islands going through the ceiling. However, those balls will now generate way longer stacks of wood above them. And what you can also see is that the balls are missing that were on the floor. And I can give an example. If I go into the ground, as you can see, normally you would directly end up in lava. In this case, you wouldn't. The ground is like 20 times as thick before turning in one big ocean of lava. And those balls that were here before, they are now in the ground. So they are in this stone ground. So yes, you get a lot of mobs running around here, but it's pretty awesome to survive in these types of environments. At least that's what I'm thinking. The space world also is being changed so that it will generate from bottom to top of the world. So I'm going up now, and as you can see here on my counter on the left top, I'm going to 156. So the highest stamp that I generate the world on is 156. And if I go down, you can see that a lot of planets and such will generate in different heights along the world. So there's a lot more space to fly around with Elytra or with the jetpack upgrade for your suit. And the generation system still includes thousands and thousands of different types of planets. From small ones to huge ones. They are all there, and I'm still thinking of making a new version of planet that's even larger than this one. Admins can still make teleportation-based planets, and there are still POIs being generated around. So there is no lag to be found, and it keeps on generating continuously. So, welcome back. This is the central page where you can see on the left side all the plugins that I've registered on my account with my name of the plugin when I registered it. Beside that, we have all those buttons that link towards the plugins itself, to the register pages, Spigot page, marketplace, wiki page, and more information on my own website. In the middle of the screen, we can see the active reports at the moment, which is basically the bug reports that you send in using the GUI that I just explained in-game, as well as what type of report. So, for example, this one is the yellow sending, which means that it doesn't send the latest log. It sends the rest, but not the latest log, so it turns red. When something is being investigated, it will turn into yellow. When it's solved or your own problem, then it will go green, and when there is an invalid ticket, then it will turn red. When something is green, you can always click the button and it will remove it from your overview. That way you can mark it as read, and then it's gone. You cannot get it back. The reward system is still there. You can still click all those sliders, and basically they will allow you to get the latest stuff for your RP that you will get. That's now on the right top. In the middle of the top of the screen, you can see this bar over here, which basically shows your Discord nickname, which is always being filled in automatically. The nickname of the first plugin that is purchased on Spigot will be linked over here, and the Minecraft Marketplace will be over there when it's there. This nickname must always be the same as the one that you activate the plugin for, otherwise it will not activate the plugin at all, just so you know. And last need, you can click on this button. It will go to a new page where you can see your key and secret key in order to link the central account to the plugin itself. You only need to activate your MCG command once. Once you have linked your central account with the plugin, you only need to do it once, and then it works for all the MCG plugins that you install on your server. Even better, it will automatically try to activate your plugins once you restart the server after linking your account. So it will try automatically link those plugins to your account on the left side of the screen. Keep in mind, if you purchase, for example, StarCraft on Spigot, but also on the Minecraft Marketplace, they will show both side by side in this list. So you can see that you get a license for each purchase that you have done. Latest not needs. You can see here the Discord link as well as the central web page link. And you can always log out by clicking here. Make sure you do so, otherwise people can get your key, and it's not very handy to share your key with others, since this key is private and cannot be reset or changed without my intervention. So in the end, this is it. There's only one thing remaining, and that's that this is also an app for your computer. You can click on it and you can literally install it on your system if you want to, and directly from your desktop get into Central if you wanted to. So thank you all for watching. See you on the next one. Good luck!